right? If you have 14,000 treatment programs over here in my left hand, and you've got 50 evidence-based protocols, processes that treatment programs should be following, all backed by proven research, and no one has any idea who's doing which one of these treatment programs are following any one of these principles. So basic business 101 with anything we do in business is take these 50 principles, narrow it down to less than a dozen, the ones that really move patient outcome, and put a system in place to measure it. Measure both who's complying with the principles, which providers, and also over time outcomes, and just publish that on an annual basis. Payers will know who they want to have in network and out of network. Consumers like myself and all of you here will know where to send your loved one if the treatment programs are rated.
Gary, you're involved in this because of your own personal experience with your son, Brian.
Sure. I was a CEO running businesses, and my older son, Brian, struggled with addiction for 8 years. And during that time, he went to 8 different treatment programs. Each one was different. None of them I now know, which I didn't know at the time, didn't follow evidence-based protocols, research, backed by research that I didn't know existed. And ultimately, he passed away in October 2011. And but what I saw from that was, after I was able to recover from what happened and able to step back, I saw this big gap in our country of evidence. I found all this existing research sitting in peer-reviewed medical journals that had proven without any doubt to be able to prevent many of our teens from ever using drugs and improve outcomes in treatment. All of this was in peer-reviewed medical journals, very little being implemented. It's like any company in America putting out an initiative and not telling anybody, and not putting any system to measure results. And I just saw this opportunity to help a lot of people.
So you're information-based, and but also still tracking protocols, still looking at outcomes, still comparing.
Yeah, I would rephrase it and say we are accountability-based.
Accountability-based.
Any business in America, again, you would put out an initiative. You would also put out the infrastructure at the same time to track results.
Well, what does work?
Goals.
Is it a 12-step deal, or what's most effective?
What the research shows, first of all, it depends what you're addicted to.
Okay, what about opioids?
For opioids, the gold standard that has backed now by almost 2 decades worth of research, and a recent report even came out yesterday further backing it up, was its medication-assisted treatment is the key feature. Again, there's other features, which I can go into if we have time, but the key one is medication-assisted treatment. Do AA meetings and coming together for a sense of community help? Can't hurt.
But it's not the protocol.
It's not.
What does it mean, medication-assisted
What it
treatment?
means is medication no different than someone who has diabetes who's getting insulin, someone that's getting one of 3 medications on a maintenance level for maybe the rest of their life, but for certainly an extended period of time.
What works for, let's say you're
3 medications.
Let's say you have one of these really powerful opioids that you're addicted to. So how would you do a low-level maintenance? What would you use?
There's one of 3 medications. It's either methadone, Suboxone, or Vivitrol. The 3 medications.
And that makes them feel average, not horrible, but not great. Is that the idea?
Depending on which one of the 3, they have different effects, but basically eliminates the cravings.
Yeah.
And mitigates the effect of any opioid you would take, number 1. But number 2, let's not forget the assisted treatment part. It's medication with behavioral therapies and love of your family and no shame and no stigma. My son didn't die of an overdose. My son hadn't used a substance in 13 months, and he took his life. And he wrote about it in a note about the shame and stigma he felt.
Right.
As being the bad kid.
Even 13 months later.
And that's just not my son. That is, everyone with this disease feels so horrible about themselves. No one wakes up in the morning and says, I'm gonna disappoint my parents today. I'm gonna disappoint I can't wait. No, it's a disease. And no different than someone with diabetes can control the amount of insulin in their system. Your brain functions in different ways.